Dr. Rosie Milligan, one of the most sought-after speakers on the circuit today. Her live internet talk show, Express Yourself, is the most provocative, thought-provoking, and talked-about radio show on the internet. There's no holds barred, and Dr. Milligan puts the B in bold. She brings it every Tuesday live at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Dr. Rosie has been proclaimed the most provocative female writer of the century. Her books include Satisfying the Black Man and Black Woman Sexually Made Simple, Why Black Men Choose White Women, and the book Nigga Please. These books have raised eyebrows across the country. She has authored 21 books and published 350 titles for authors nationwide. Check Dr. Rosie out at drrosie.com for her books, articles, and archives of her internet talk show. Sit at the feet of wisdom. Dr. Milligan is indeed a timekeeper and scorekeeper. She is the clock, calendar, and almanac for Black America. You need to hear her.
Today we're going to be talking about an issue that I think is very important, and it's one that most people have no clue about what's going on. I mean, this is one proposition. Proposition 19 passed in November, 2.5 months ago, and it's effective today. I tell you, I cannot believe how many people, I don't know, I guess nobody heard about it until November election, because when I talk to people, you guys, they go, Proposition 19, what happened? What is it? I mean, most of the people I know have no clue. You know, there was a few people I'd done trust for that I knew parents had passed. I was trying to reach them so they could go ahead and do their claim for reassessment exclusion for transfer between parent and child. I reached as many as I could because I knew the 15th that needed to be done. And ironically, so the 15th was a holiday.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Can you believe that? So, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Only thing I can tell you is that if people is my daddy said, if they got good sense, not have good sense, if they got good sense, they're going to rise up this time. And, you know, people, well, it's a constitutional amendment. It's nothing in the world that cannot be changed. And I think we have seen that in the last 4 years or so, the many different things that people thought could not be changed, you know, they have been changed. And there's no such thing, as my daddy told me, there's no such thing as can't. So erase that from your vocabulary. So we're going to have to make sure that something is done about Proposition 19. And why is that so important? Because I see Proposition 19 as a new legal land grab. And we must act now. When it comes to land grab and taking folks' property, I am so familiar with that. I hail from South America, better known as Mississippi, and I watched people take black folks' land all over the South. And I've heard stories after stories, you know. In fact, a lady wrote a book I'm reading now. I think it was some part of Texas, how they took people's land. And I mean, it was just atrocious. So I'm going to have her on the show, because what happened there is really what happened all over. People were beaten. They had to leave town. They made up something on them to get them out. Just took their property. My girlfriend, her aunt had a store, had land, had a little general store on it. It was just taken away from them. All types of dirty stuff. Say you didn't pay your tax, because you know a lot of people were sending money order and didn't keep receipt. Then your land go up for sale, and they just took your land. So I think this kind of rubbed me the wrong way, coming from a place where I've seen people so much been taken from black folks, and then you want to know. And this is not just about taking black folks' land, you guys. This is everybody in the state of California. But what I'm saying, it hit us harder. And we look at why it was hit us harder. Because when you are at the bottom of the bottom as a race from the economic standpoint, yes, I can say it would hit you harder, because you have less to work with. and you will have lesser to work with because of Prop 19, because what your parents have worked hard for, their dream was to leave a legacy. Well, at least I can leave this property for my child. And now, can you really hold on to what they're leaving you after working so hard for it because of Prop 19? So, Keith, it becomes all of our responsibility to make sure that everybody we know understand what Prop 19 is about and to be ready to rally to get this change. It cannot stay this way. It must not stay this way. It's really, like I said, it's a new land grab. So just take, for instance, effective any time, say if your parent would make that transition, they had a house, they don't work hard for that house, or I'm going to leave, I don't have much in my bank account, but I'm going to leave him this property. Okay, say you already have a home. Number one, Prop 19 said you must live in that home to get the claim for reassessment exclusion for transfer between parent and child. What that really means, folks, is saying that if your property tax was $25,000 a year, if you get that exclusion, your mother's property tax was $2,500 a year, and if you get that exclusion, that your property tax would not go up. Underscore that. That is very important. Now, say for instance, if your parent bought a home in, say, the Merck Park, Baldwin Hill, say their tax is $3,000 a year. Now, look at that property now. They probably paid $200,000 or less. So now you will be paying tax on $1 million or more. Your tax is going to be at least $1,000 a month now under Prop 19. Okay? Now, God forbid if they still have a note on it, where the monthly payment is $4,000, $3,000, and then you add the $1,000. Some people say, well, that's not too bad. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. $1,000 a month in this economy, when jobs have finished, while unemployment rate is low. I mean, it's high. Business is failure. And you tell me $1,000 a month added to the month and then a note to the person who leave it to you. Folks, come on. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that property is going to be lost. So who's going to get it? Who's going to get it?
Right.
That's interesting. Who's going
They're going to be forced to sell.
Yes. And who's going to get it? It's not going to be the average Joe Blow. So it seemed like to me, somebody got something in mind. I don't know if it's the real estate gurus. Who's going to win? Well, the county tax is going to get a lot of money because tax is going to go up.
Tax is going to go up, yeah.
Yeah, tax is going to go up. And the big gurus in the real estate market, they're going to come in and buy the property. Now, you trying to rent. Where you going to rent? Can you afford it? Where can you go?
Yeah. You got to leave. You got to leave California.
I don't know where you're going, folks.
Yeah.
So wherever you go
now. They're going
now.
to charge you for leaving California, too.
And look what has happened now. People going to get up and, well, you can't get up and get out if you ain't got no money. It's the little kids say, where you going to go, Grandma? You guys, I don't know if you guys feel this is a sad moment to me to see this type of thing for people who work so hard, made such a sacrifice, and they say, well, at least I'm going to leave this house.
Yeah.
At least my children have a roof over their head. I don't know if that's so. So I'm saying to those people out there who borrow money on your houses, refinance with all these big notes, please stop it, okay? Because leaving a liability for your children is not what we need to do in today's time. You need to leave an asset, not a liability. And with Prop 19, Keith, you have your own house. So if your mother leave your house, the only way you can get the exclusion is that you have to get up and move out of your house and move into her house to keep that tax real estate tax the same.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that has to be I wanted to say the dumbest of the dumbest who thought that up, but let me take that back. It
Mm-hmm.
must be the shrewdest or the smartest of the smartest. I don't know, you guys. What do you make of who brought this about?
The state always wants to make the maximum amount of money, and the biggest. Remember back, Dr. Rose, you remember Prop 13 back in the mid '70s?
Yeah.
Okay, Prop 13 has been an anchor around, the state's neck as far as taxes for a long time. They've been looking to get rid of or work around that for forever. So I'm not surprised.
Right.
And the reason they're gentrifying is because that's what that's what this country wants to do. But the second thing is that every time they gentrify, move people out, the tax base goes up. So this is just another way to force people out and move new people in, and the tax base to go up.
Well,
So
it's supposed to be the city of the rich.
This is what I call what they wanted to be, what I call an Emerald City, right? Remember the Wizard of Oz, and all the other peasants lived around what they call the capital city, which is the Emerald City, where everybody wanted to go, where it was so fabulous and advanced and stuff like that. And I think the country wanted to make these certain cities emerald cities, and every place else is like flyover country. And I think LA was supposed to be one of these emerald cities because you can see all the work that they're doing on the city, the power grids, the internet, the cell phones, all that kind of stuff, all the technology they're trying to put into this city. They wanted to make this an emerald city. So the only way to make it an emerald city, you had to force the lower class people out and bring in the kind of people that you want in, which is the high tech, very wealthy, upscale people. So, and they're doing that. Like you look at the Bay Area, you look at LA, you look at New York, Miami, Austin. Now, there are certain places they want to make emerald cities, in my opinion. And go ahead.
So poor Joe got to go, right?
Poor Joe got the rest of the country to go into, and that's what has been happening slowly. They've been trying to push people out slowly.
Right.
So I'm not surprised that to see something like Prop was it Prop 19?
Prop 19.
Yeah.
COVID-19 Prop 19.
Isn't that something? Oh my God.
One way or the other.
One way or the other.
I'm gonna kill you one way or the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I was a planner, like that, and I'm not going to blame it on the real estate people because I don't think the real estate people had as much to do with it as say the tax people or the state people, because this is what they want to. Real estate people are going to make money anyway, one way or the other. Okay, if the prices go up, they make more money, or they sell more property, they make more money. Real estate people, in my opinion, they're going to make money one way or the other. Okay, this is really about taxes, and the higher the taxes, the harder it is to sell the property anyway, or bring people.
Really,
it makes it harder for real estate people to bring new people in because of the tax base. Okay, so I don't think it's the real estate people. I do think this is a government thing, and which is to bring in more money and plan a city that's more upscale. This is just my opinion. So I'm really not surprised. But we'll see. The thing is that I think they plan to do this before COVID. Now COVID is going to change the whole calculus, so we'll have to see.
Well,
but Prop 19, I think he said it passed within like 2 weeks before it actually got on the ballot. It wasn't even going to be on the ballot. They just came up with it. They didn't even really look at what could happen with it.
Yeah, and because gentrification and all that kind of stuff. They've been trying to encourage people to sell with the prices and stuff like that, and people like California, people like Los Angeles, Southern California, because of the weather, and they've been here for a while. It's hard to get people to move. So how do you get people to move? And this is just one way to get people to move. The easiest way to gentrify is to change the tax codes and raise the property taxes on people, because people, if people own property and pass it down, they're going to stay there. They're not, I can afford to live here. I don't have to make $100,000 because the main driver or the main expense in California has always been housing. Okay.
Well,
so,
Keith, but the other thing going to make a difference is going to make it harder for people to qualify, Shawanna, for that loan.
Yeah.
Because they got to consider now it's $1,000 a month taxes. So that may knock you totally out of qualifying for a house that you could have normally bought if that tax increase had not occurred. You follow me?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
you're only.
But you're basically.
Because at this point, if you're doing stuff like this, you're only selling to the top 10% of people. 90% of the people cannot really even afford to live here. So the thing is, I don't know how you work that out.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, with the Prop 19, what I gather from it
Mm-hmm.
is it's going to increase the value at what the property is realistically worth today.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people don't understand that when a person passes away now, after February 16th,
Mm-hmm.
whenever they're going to go back to that time. So let's say, for instance, if you decide you want to sell the property and you're not living in the property,
Mm-hmm.
you're not living in the property, you want to sell it as the heir to the estate, Prop 13 allowed that property to transfer from parent to child or from grandparent to child, as long as you can prove that it was that relationship. It kept that tax value at the same as when the grandmother bought it or when the parents bought it. But today, it immediately adjusts to whatever the property is worth at the time of death. So when you get ready to sell your property, you're going to go back in time. So if you were only paying, like you said, Dr. Rose, if they were only paying $1,000 a year because the property taxes were so low,
Right.
now they're paying $10,000. Now they have to go back to that time, and you're going to be paying $10,000
Exactly.
per year.
And
And
that
people don't understand that's going to hit hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Hit hard.
And it can also cause you to not qualify for that house because that additional $1,000 taxes,
Right.
they're going to consider that in calculating whether you can buy that house or not.
And also, if if a property owner, say somebody like Shawanna, passes, okay, and
No, don't. Not there. Power of words. Let's talk about somebody else.
In other words, say a big property owner that has lots of apartments. Say like Donald Sterling, okay, that has lots and lots and lots of property, right? He got billions of dollars worth of property. All these 500,000 units, and he passes, right? And somebody's got to inherit it. Okay, the property taxes go up on all those units. Okay, and so by the same token, 500,000 units, the property tax goes up. Also, the rent goes up.
See, that's
So
the problem.
you got 500,000 people who's going to get this big boost in rent because the property owner has to pass that cost on.
Providing you're not in a rent control area, Keith, this thing is crossing a whole lot of barriers now. That's what one mother told me. She said, my rents are low because a lot of people did not raise their rent. They had seniors or people they had gone to church with, people they had known through the years, so they didn't raise the rents, But so now you're in a rent control, and now your taxes has tripled.
Mm-hmm.
And your child inherits that house. So if they pay the taxes, they can come out even losing because the rents are not at market rate. This thing has so many parts to it.
Yeah.
Let me stop and give the number out. Maybe somebody want to talk to us. The number is 310-928-7733. 310-928-7733. 310-928-7733, or you can email us here at Innerlight, INNER, Innerlight Radio, at yahoo.com. You can call. I think we may have one person holding. Is there someone holding, Keith?
I think wasn't there a 323 number that was in earlier?
323-231. If you're still there, you can unmute if you have a question or comment. You guys, but we're in a dark doom hour at a time with the impact we've already had. Think about the people who could not transfer, Keith. In the hospital, okay? They're dealing with COVID.
Yeah.
people who died. You can't even get a death certificate. How in the hell how can this be? I'm just trying to, how can this be, Keith?
Yeah. This is going to be a mess.
How cruel, criminal. This is criminal. Somebody needs to be locked up behind this.
The capitalist states are not the nicest. They have an iron fist beneath that velvet glove, and sometimes that velvet glove comes off, and this is maybe one of those times.
Okay, 323-231. If you're still holding, you want to make a comment, just unmute yourself and chime in, because I'm getting mad as I talk about this.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. This is ridiculous. And the sad thing, it had to be a trick, you guys, because nobody knew anything about this until the November election.
They kept this real quiet.
Yeah. And 2 months past the election. Okay. The election was in November. You had to February 15th to make that change. That was 2.5 months, Keith, for people to make these adjustments, pull stuff together, file a claim. 2.5 months.
Right.
Oh my God, this is a trick from the trickery. I've never seen anything so low-lifed and criminal in my life.
Down in California, they do it elsewhere. This is Washington D.C. They've done stuff like this. They've done it elsewhere. California is a pretty liberal state, and it's kind of hard to get these things through if people see them coming. But I guess that's why they kept it quiet. People wouldn't have voted for it if they saw it coming.
Well, where's the poor people going? I mean, now all of a sudden you're going to create poverty states now if you're trying to push them out of California, San Francisco, other places. So now all of a sudden you're supposed to send.
And now you have with COVID-19, the work is being redistributed. You have a lot of these wealthy people that are leaving because they don't have to be here anymore, because there's no reason, because of the way they've connected people, they don't have to be anymore. Like Elon Musk, he's leaving California. There's a bunch of tech billionaires that are leaving California as we speak. And taking people with them. So what they plan for and what's happening on the ground are two different things. And I don't know how this is going to work out. So now we're going to squeeze a whole bunch of people that are not poor, but middle class people in the middle. And this is going to be interesting how it's going to work out. I have no clue how this is going to work out. This is going to be, if I could be someplace else and looking at this from afar and not be in the middle of it, it'd be very, very interesting to actually observe.
Dr. J said the devil, what did he say, is a trickster.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, the devil is a trickster.
It was a trick. I mean, look at the things that it said. Oh, if you vote for this is going to help people, the elder, if they're selling their properties, to help them on their relocating. And it was really designed. It was trickery. It was trickery. And I said, it was so sad.
How many elders relocating and doing all this, and then they really get you. It's going to help the firemen. And it's going to be money for the school. Yeah, right. Just like the lottery.
Yeah.
No, they're not doing that. They're not giving any money to the school.
Well, the local tax base goes up, the school will get more money. But what's the penalty you have to pay? Yeah, what's the penalty they have to pay? Well, the thing is, the people moving in probably don't need the money for the school base, okay? Because it has to be upper class people.
Yeah. Wow. Folks, what we gonna do? Y'all better, I know what you better do. You better come out swinging. I started saying fight, man. I don't want to be another Trump.
Right. They'd be like, Dr. Rosie, tell us. And there'll be a whole pile of people.
You got to watch what you say now.
Oh, God.
He done created a whole new dynamic. So certain words you can't use, But I'm telling you, folks, best to get together, write to their state representative, their congressperson. Everybody needs to know about this. This gonna wipe. And let me just get real personal. and not person, but culturally speaking, it's
Mm-hmm.
going to wipe out a lot of black folks. I'm telling you right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can't. Number one, you stand in your mama's house, or she left the house for you, and the note wasn't that much. But now the tax make it where you can't afford the house, can't afford to stay
Mhm.
there, and you can't afford to rent
Mm-hmm.
anywhere else.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
I mean, you got that. You know how people talk about
Dr. Rosie.
catch-22. This is more than a
Mm.
catch-22.
People don't even realize how these tax increases are going to hit because they're just hearing about it. They haven't felt the impact of it.
Uh-huh.
The impact of it is going to be insane. Insane. I mean, the property taxes are going to go up. And then think about this, Dr. Rosie. The people that do have a loan on the property, and let's say your insurance and your property taxes are included in your monthly payment, they're going to automatically raise your payment immediately
That's right.
to offset that taxes. So now if your parents gave you a property, they had a loan on it, and let's say the loan was $3,000 a month,
Mm-hmm.
but it was based on their tax rate, it's going to go up immediately because the payment is included, the property taxes and everything is included.
And
And so
that
your monthly payment is going to go up automatically.
could make you not afford it. Not afford it. Let's take a
and then people
caller.
are going to be losing the property. It's horrible. It's a
And
horrible thing.
somebody's waiting for it.
Mm-hmm.
Caller, go ahead. Give us your name. Tell us where you're calling from and what's your take on this.
323.
Caller, go ahead. Yes.
Dr. Rosie,
Yes.
can you, good morning. What hurts me is that
Is this Lorna?
yes, it is. Good
Oh,
morning.
good to hear from you. Good to hear from you.
Same here. Thank you. We did not read the book, the election book. We just listened to what other people said in general. If we had read that election book, we would have seen the voter's guidebook that came in the mail. We would have seen where that was all addressed, but yet we just listened to other people in general because there was no way that should have passed like that. They told you all the good things that are with that bill, which are some great things with it. If you're over 55, you can move that property tax 3 times now as opposed to 1. But we didn't read it relative to how it affects those of us, as you said. Our grandparents left us property, and they left it in a trust for us. We now have to live in it in order to maintain that property tax. It will not be assessed if we live in it. But if our parents or grandparents had 2 pieces of property, shame on us. We have to liquidate the other one or raise the rent astronomically. More than likely, they'll go up 400 or 500% in terms of the reassessed value. So it's really hurtful. So thank you. But
It
we have
really
to be.
is.
You know,
And Lorna, we're
Dr.
going to.
I have to agree with her because I had a friend that told me, she says, "Oh, Shawanna, I have how you have to vote on the ballots. I'm sending it to you." And she sent it to me. And I was just curious what she was sending me. And people were sending this same thing everywhere. And I said, "How many people did you send this to?" And she said, "I sent it to at least 20 people already. And you're one of them." And I said, "Are you kidding me? Did you read the book?" I said, "Do not send this out to anyone else because they encourage you to vote yes on that." And I explained to her, and I read it to her, and I said, "How would you vote?" And she said, "I would definitely vote no." And then I read the other ones to her. "How would you vote?" I just read it to her. I didn't sway her in any direction. But unfortunately, we do not read. And that book was the most important book ever to read.
Well, the
That
other
was an
thing
important
is,
book.
the other thing, Lorna, is too that we have to get out of the habit of allowing our elected politicians to send us something telling us how to vote. We should be past
Right.
that now. Years back, maybe when people wasn't as astute. I mean, your 18-year-old in your house could read that and interpret. So all of them, most of them, I could go back and trace. They all was saying to vote, in favor of 19 because they didn't read themselves. Okay, all they heard was that it's going to help the firefighters and the schools, and they told us to vote. So I hope that this teaches us a lesson not to allow our politicians to tell us how to vote. We need to be persuaded by what's in it for me, or what's in it for my community, because this is so ridiculous. In fact, the other thing is, it says if the person leave you property and it's 5 children that she's leaving it to, the way the current law is written, all y'all got to live in the house.
All of you?
So,
oh my gosh!
all y'all got to be in that
so
house.
one of them
you
just can't live in the house.
Yeah, you heard what I said. Right now, it's all of y'all must live in the house.
Oh my gosh!
Now, if it's an apartment loan, it says it's a 6-unit apartment, and you live in one, they're gonna divide that. It'd be 1/6 of the increase will not go up, but the increase on the other 5 units going up to market value.
Exactly. So I'm hoping we as a people will get together and work on something to make legislatively that can change that. They've been trying, and this is their way of getting rid of Prop 13 in general, but bit by bit. So we have to be proactive at this point to turn some things around. This is pathetic. It's pathetic.
Right.
And I don't believe in can't learn. I don't believe in no such thing. I don't care if it is a constitutional amendment, because we have lived through the last 10 years and 5 years, and we have seen how many things that supposedly could not be changed that's been changed. We the people need to not allow whoever's in power, whoever created this, we must not allow that to happen. When I look and I think about, it's not about me, I'll be okay. But I have children and grandchildren. So that's who we need to be concerned about. It's about the next generation. That's who it's going to really impact. It's not going to impact us right now because we have the property, we own it. But the minute we close our eyes, that's what I'm talking about. And we have to be concerned about the wealth legacy. And many people, all they have learned to leave is their property, but that's what they'll work hard for. They'll sacrifice. They're gone without for it. And you mean to tell me that my child can't keep it? But what I'm concerned about also, how many ordinary people will not be able to afford a mortgage because of the tax. Are you all figuring that part in? Because if the tax going to be $1,000 a month, that's going to make you not qualify now for that loan that you would have normally qualified for. This thing has too many dimensions in it for somebody not to do something.
The thing is that I'm sure, once it gets rolling, they will remedy it. But the thing is, how long will that take?
I think what we said is we do need to come together and really come up against this prop. Because, Dr. Rosie, when we had the tax assessor on the other day, he said a lot of damaging things, because he stated that proposition just came out of nowhere. They didn't even know what the impact was. They didn't even know. And they're still trying to figure out what the impact is going to be. And they're getting it. But because this prop they said it came to them in 2.5 weeks, they didn't even have time to review it. It just got put on the ballot. And so I think all of those things will be things that we can use to help. Because this is strictly to go up against Prop 13. This was to go against Prop 13, and Prop 13 was put up so that it can help people that if they inherit the properties. Prop 58, all of and so they came up with Prop 19. So we need to come up with another prop that stops Prop 19 in its steps. I mean, and we have to come up with that. We have to really come up with proper wording and everything for it.
I think it will. The thing is that how long will that proposition process take, and in the meantime, how much damage will this proposition do?
Well, what we want to ask,
a lot of damage.
but what we want to ask is that this is put on hold. while it's reevaluated to stop it right now
That's
in
good.
its tracks. That if somebody died on the 16th of February, which is now in effect, then do not change what 58 did. Put it on hold till it is thought out more thoroughly, and then taken back and look at what you need to do. So, because if we don't do it that way, look how many people be already hurt while they hashing it out. We want to stop
That's
to
true. Asset
we want
protection.
to pause.
Right. We have to do asset protection, a moratorium against this law that just got passed. And we come and we address it just like they addressed all these other things. We address it a year from now, and then everybody goes in and do what we need to do to get this uplifted and removed. But we definitely have to remove it, and we can't just talk about it. We actually have to do it.
I just want to make sure that once we put something together, I will work on something, that we get everybody out there. Everybody have a list of people that they can rally to. You got churches, you got organizations, everybody have email address, and everybody knows somebody that has some property. They just need to, and then we'll call a big meeting. It'll be Zoom,
Okay.
We do here,
We
and
should do
everybody will have pull their people together, and then we're discussing on that Zoom meeting. We have got to do this. If we don't do anything else this year, this is one thing that we have just got to do.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
I agree. I agree with that, because this is affecting all the inheritance laws here. This is horrible. I think it was a very bad decision that they. And I was in shock at how many people were saying yes, and I would ask, why are you saying yes to this? And I kept calling. I was making calls to everyone. Do not say yes. Do not vote on this. Do not. And I kept calling up everyone, reading it to them. What do you think? And some people had already voted. I already took it out. It's too late. I got that paper in the mail and telling me how to vote. And I think there should be a law against that, too. I don't think any should be able to send out how you should vote. Come on now.
Yeah.
The politicians should not be able to say, vote this way. I mean, we should be able to read our own things, and people are lazy. They get this big old 7x10 flyer telling you how to vote and why you should vote, and they're only giving you the pros of why you should vote their way.
They just tell you vote, and you know what? That's so interesting to me, because I've had people call me and say, "Did you get the flyer that from Maxine Waters saying how we should vote or who we should vote for?" They look for it, you guys. They look for someone checking the ballot for them.
Yeah.
Wow. And I was completely surprised that when I was reading it, and then I would look at what they told you to vote on, I was like, "Oh, hey, how could they tell you yes? Why would they tell you to do this?" And I tried to figure it out. And the real estate people wanted this law passed. And the reason why they wanted the law passed is because it increases the sales on the market.
Okay.
The properties was not selling. People was not selling properties. So, of course, now if you get high taxes, there's going to be more properties on the market for sale. More people can come in and buy the properties that you inherited from your family, because you can't handle the monthly payments and the taxes and the insurance and the government telling people that they don't have to pay rent for a while.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's really bizarre.
It's like, how do you not have to pay rent, but you have to pay the taxes?
Yeah.
But you know what's interesting about this, you guys, what I'm appalled about, is during this time, everything that dealt with financial matters stopped due to COVID-19, except Prop 19. Such thing as eviction moratorium. People couldn't shut off your utilities, et cetera, et cetera. But at the same time, Prop 19 passed that has a lot to do with economics and money. Folks, if the old folks said there's a dead cat on the line, so I'm fishy about that. And we'll probably never get to the bottom of it. But we cannot let it get any further.
It was really to affect the people that was not selling. We had so many people in our neighborhoods that was not selling. But now they're going to feel like they have to sell because the property taxes are higher. But I'm saying don't sell because of property taxes. Try to figure it out. But it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. I mean, a property that was once valued at $150,000, $200,000 is now being valued at $1.2 million, or $3 million or whatever. I mean, they even tried to do that on our commercial buildings. They really was trying to take everything, and we really have to be mindful of that and really make the changes that we need to make in order to keep the properties that our parents have given us.
Exactly. Right. We're going to take another caller. Caller, go ahead. Give us your name, where you're calling from. We have a caller holding. Caller, go ahead. Go ahead, caller. We're waiting for you. Okay. Maybe the caller just listen, but caller, if you decide that you want to join in, just unmute yourself. Just unmute yourself. But folks, I'm telling you right now, this is criminal. Mm-hmm. Somebody needs to pay a price for this. Absolutely criminal. And maybe I'm feeling it more so because I hail from a state where people took folks' land every day. And now we're getting ready to see this again. This is all the average person have to leave for their family. That house that they bought years ago when they worked at General Motors, they worked at a Goodyear Tire, they worked in the airline industry, Rockwell. These are folks who worked hard and bought houses during those days to leave to their children and instructed their children to leave it to their children. To be poor is one thing, but to be poor in a land of plenty, as Frederick Douglass said, it's hard being poor, but to be poor in a land where there's plenty. And to be in a place where you don't own real estate. I mean, you're going to reduce this whole city to renters, where people come in and buying houses by the 10s and 12s at one time, so they can rent to you that when you finish renting, you have nothing left. Then they tell you, I'm renting you a 2-bedroom and I'll put you out if you let somebody else move in with you. Come on, folks. What is this? What is it? So you're supposed to not allow your child who just got evicted to come and sleep on your couch or stay in your house, because when you rented it on the set, you were going to be living there. Folks, do you guys realize the time we're in? Are you just going to sit down and let it happen? Because it's not happening to you. Do you care about your children, your grandchildren, or just the community? Or do you care about just human beings? Wow. It's time to rise up and let them know that, this is not happening. We're not going for that. We're better than this. And this country is supposed to be better than this also. But you know what? If you don't say nothing, guess what happens? Nothing. If you say nothing, nothing happens. Right. So I think we need to say something.
Yes.
I think we have another call. If caller, go ahead, state your name. Now, after this show, Jamal is going to play the show that we did 2 weeks ago, where we interviewed the tax assessor, Mr. Jeff Pring.
Yeah, that was that's an interesting show, because you very seldom see an official like that to come down and talk about about a law that just got passed that's going to impact people like that.
Exactly.
But it shows you that we do have people that are inside that are concerned. So if he's concerned, we need to be concerned, because because he's an official.
That's right.
Yeah.
He didn't have to be there. He's the tax assessor over the counter, but he came to help us, to understand it more, so we could make a move if we could before
that is what it's
February.
For.
15. That's incredible
That's
to
what it
have
was
had
for.
him to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So he got my vote whenever it come around. Whenever the time come around. That's the man you need to vote for
Right. He was
tax
so
success.
transparent.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he was.
He was
And it
transparent.
was so refreshing to see someone in that position, Shawanna, who was transparent, who was so willing. And he said, well, anytime that I can give more information, let us know. How often do you see that?
Right.
That's a man of integrity.
Yes.
So, folks, let me give you my email address. Anybody who listening who want to be put on the list to be notified of the move that we're making and how you can help, email me at Dr. Rosie, Rosie, at AOL.com. That's Dr. No period. Rosie at AOL.com. Tim's told me that he voted for Jeff Green twice. So that means he'll vote for him 3 times. So he got my vote.
He has my vote.
I haven't seen such integrity. I'm telling you.
I was quite impressed.
Yeah, that's just. Yeah, I was shocked. I wasn't impressed. I was stunned that the tax.
No, I was totally shocked with what he was saying. I was like, wow. He's given us an opening.
Yeah.
He's given us an opening to help ourselves, and we have to take that opening and help ourselves. We have to come up with something that we can present, have people sign and petition, and say, you know what, we don't want this. No, this is because it was wrong. It was wrong the way it was written.
It's detrimental. We will list all the ways, Shawanna, that is damaging to the community.
Right.
So I work on putting that together because you see, we've laid out just so many right now. There are people who pushed out. You're paying too much rent. You're tired of paying rent. You want to buy a house now where your child is paying rent over here. Let me just give you some scenario. Junior's over here paying rent. Daddy over here paying rent. I'm paying rent. So now you come together, you're thinking, you're putting your thinking cap on. You say, you know what? Why don't we just buy a 3-bedroom house? You paying 25, I'm paying 25, you paying 15. Why don't we just buy some property and we live together? Okay? Then you come up with that and you start looking at what's taking place now. You're looking at the tax. Now, where you normally would have qualified for a house where the taxes, say $600,000 house, taxes about $500 a month. That's $6,000 a year. But now, if that tax raised where you qualified to buy this house before, because they calculated what the tax was going to be. But now the tax goes up to $1,000 a month. That makes it impossible now for you to buy a house. Even when you're going in with someone, folks, $1,000 a month extra above the mortgage note. Plus, you have to pay insurance and upkeep. What I'm trying to say, what I'm really trying to say is that we're not careful. We'll be back to just renters, not owning anything. When you don't own anything, people disrespect you. They don't care nothing about you. It's interesting. We go back to when people couldn't vote because they didn't own property. And property owners, think about it. Whenever there's a riot or insurrection, the police, and they are sent to protect. Y'all don't want me to say it. That property.
The property.
Okay. They are here to protect the property.
Right.
Okay. So when the people in the South, when they did say, okay, then we owning something, we got property, now we can vote. They would say, well, did you pay your poll tax? That was property tax. If your taxes were not paid, you can't vote because your tax not paid.
Right.
I don't know if you really know what ownership means. But to be in a place where you're looking at a third of your population, let me take it culturally because I want to talk about my people right now. Well, a third, because during 2008, Black folks lost a third of their wealth. And much of their wealth was in houses. Not in IRAs, not in 401ks, not in stock, but it was in real estate. And we lost a third of our wealth in 2008. Now, you see a lot of our people renting, struggling, trying to pay rent. We're already going to have enough people that's going to be homeless when COVID gets over because of what was taking place. And now, how can you put this burden on the back of people after COVID-19 with this devastation? And you come with another storm, just like a one storm pass over and here come another one. Folks, if this ain't enough to make you upset, to start, go to the Los Angeles County Assessor's website and read all you can on Prop 19. They have information there. And if you're satisfied, do nothing. If you're not satisfied, if you care about those that you're leaving behind, then you need to do something. Not only do you need to do something, you need to encourage other folks to do the same. So the fight is on. It's up to us to make this change. And I'm willing, to put every effort that I have, all the energy that I have left to do this. Because it's important. Some people say, well, a lot of people going to be moving. I said, yeah, that's true, but a lot of people can't move. They ain't got nothing to move with.
Yeah.
How you going to move? You don't even have first and last rent. You don't have transportation. You can't even pay to move your furniture. If somebody call you and say, I got a house for you in Kentucky. Folks, it's hard times out here. And for you to put this kind of pressure on people at the worst time in history, in our time. The worst time in history for us. For us, Keith. And you do something like this. That's inhumane, number one, and criminal.
Yeah, I think it's pretty bordering on criminal, yeah.
And what are politicians saying? What are the politicians saying? Have you heard anybody raise their voice and say that? Have they said anything? Are they quiet as a mouse because they endorsed it? It doesn't matter if you endorsed it. The minute you find that something is wrong, that you made a mistake, correct it, because you're going to be okay.
Right.
And your kids going to be okay because you got money. But what about the people that you're representing? We need to put pressure on every one of them and ask them, what are your plans? What are your attacks for Prop 19? Folks who are listening, you need to write to your representatives, your state senators, your legislators, people. If everybody would just get those letters off, say, this is how Prop will impact us. Do you have any concern? Wow. Those questions need to be asked.
Yeah, well, yeah, that they'll get asked. The thing is, when will they get asked? Is it going to be asked after a whole bunch of people lose their homes or get driven out of California, or is it going to be asked while we can kind of stem some of this stuff? Because at this point, a lot of people are going to get a hit. It's just a matter of how many.
Wow. But in that case, it won't be long because do you realize how many people we lost due to COVID-19?
COVID, yeah. We just
What's
lost.
What's going to happen
We just lost
So,
Reverend Price, so yeah.
yes, yes. You know, and we talking about things that happened after
Hmm.
February 16th.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We lost almost 20,000 people alone to COVID in LA County. So.
These people had children, Keith.
Hmm.
They had children that will inherit their properties. Wow. Wow. Who did not even have the chance to get a death certificate, not even had the chance to file any papers before February 15th. What's going to happen to those people? Wow.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting, to say the least. Hopefully, it doesn't become tragic.
Exactly.
But because you've been saying for years, Dr. Rosie, the only reason that a lot of young people are still here in Southern California is because of their parents or inheriting property from their parents. It's the only way they're going to be able to stay, and this is going to put a dent in that.
And look how many of them are living with their parents.
Yeah.
They're in their parents' home.
In their parents' homes. Yeah.
So when their parents, and many of them were there because they could not afford to pay this high rent out on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And now they can't keep that house because you're going to jack the tax up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's the way you get people to move with taxes. This is not new. This has been going on, as far as capitalist states, it's been going on for a very long time. And this is how they reshape the society by doing stuff like this. So this isn't new.
Yeah, and it's like you say, it's a way to get them to move.
Mm-hmm.
But move where? And with what? It's like when someone said to me during Katrina, why didn't those people get up out of there? You know what I had to say to them? Because some people, because they got a nickel, they think everybody else got a penny or got something. I said a lot of them could not get up out of there for the same reason some of my relatives could not have gotten out of there unless somebody send them some money to fill that tank up because payday is not here yet.
Mm-hmm.
So those who have a little bit, don't get it twisted. A lot of folks who had a lot don't have anything now. It don't take but one snippet for you to be at the bottom of the bottom. So since you're not at the bottom, you need to try to make sure that we raise everybody up as high as they can because we don't know who we save that might have to save us. It's frightening out here.
Yeah, it is.
It really is, folks. So what I'm really saying, get all the information you can on Prop 19. If you're interested in helping us to fight this fight, email me at Dr. Rosie, DRROSIE at AOL.com, folks, and let's get this show on the road. And let's see what time the show is going to air tonight. But just following this show, you're going to hear my interview with the tax assessor, Mr. Jeff Prang. The technician would tell me what time this show will re-air tonight or whenever. And if I were you, I would get on that phone and call my friends and relatives and have them to listen at this show, which is going to be at innerlightradio.com. That's INNER. Innerlightradio.com. As soon as he put when this show is going to air, I'll give it to you. And Keith and Shawanna, you guys are on it. You guys understand it. And I know you're going to be available to give a hand to try to get the information out so we can do what we must do. So I'm just waiting for the technician to tell us when this show is going to air tonight. And I give that to you folks. And you know how we do it every Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Yeah. This is you broke news, Dr. Rosie, because has the L.A. Los Angeles Times or any one of the newspapers actually talked about this?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it. Yeah, that's really interesting that your local news hasn't talked about something that's going to impact people.
They may not even know.
I don't. I would guarantee you, like 99.99% of people don't even know yet.
Don't
And
have.
and for the tax assessor to come to you, that means nobody else is listening. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so you're the only person that would actually listen to him, which I find interesting. The show will re-air at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, even if it's not affecting you, do you need to call somebody and have them listen to this, and also listen to the replay with the tax assessor? Because, like I said, I scan news articles every day, and I have not heard, other than this show, I have not heard anybody even mention this.
I know. Well, folks, if you want to know, you get it right here. This is the show, bringing you information you may not ever hear in a place else. So you guys have a great day. We're off and running. Keith got a lot to do. I'm not going to tell you what he got to do. I'm not going to tell it, Keith. I ain't telling. I'm not telling. I know how to keep it secret. And Shawanna, I know she's going to be off making money. She's dealing with real estate. Well, we're going to replay the tax assessor. It's coming up next, so you guys tune in.
Shawanna's making calls as we speak.
Oh, yeah. She's trying to see what house she can buy. Get out of here, Shawanna. Okay, you guys have a great day.